It's really just this giant sandbox to play around in. And we asked ourselves with Super Lucky's Tale,
So we're changing the name of the game to Creativerse, right?
Good morning.
Morning.
Great to see you. Welcome to another Creativerse release preview live stream. It's been a while since we did one of these, Winter, hasn't it?
About a month.
Something like that. So, first of all, my name is Stephen Hurd, sometimes known as Brainsloth here in our wonderful community, and I'm joined, as always, by...
Winter Mullinix. I am known as Playful Winter.
She is. That's what she's known as. And so, our good buddy, Mr. David Calkins, Playful David, is not with us this morning. He had to do some traveling, so he's not going to make it for this live stream, but we will remember him as we do each of the actions in this live stream. We'll take a moment before each jump, before each block placed, and just say, David, just like that. And then with having done that, he will be with us just in spirit. And that's what's really important. So there's a lot to go over this time. Usually on these preview live streams, what we like to do is kind of explain some of the new stuff, maybe show you a few of the new in-game features or items or some of the new stuff. And we're going to be doing that. But a lot of this update, Winter, is kind of under the hood. And so what I mean by that is that we heard feedback from our community that said, hey guys, the game is fun, but I'm kind of noticing that performance and kind of game performance and stuff like that really needs a bit of a tune-up. And so we took that feedback really seriously and spent a lot of the development time on this release diving deep under the hood to make a lot of fixes and improvements. And so a lot of it, if I explain them, and I'm going to try to do that, will probably sound boring and like, what is he talking about? But the end result is going to be that we feel like the play experience for our players is going to be a lot more stable and have better performance and kind of set us up to continue making those kinds of improvements in the future, which is really great, right? Mm-hmm. And we also added a bunch of new blocks. So win-win, no matter how you look at it. That being said, I don't really have anything specific planned. I'm going to hop into the game here. Winter here is going to be keeping an eye on your comments and questions, and we'll be happy to answer those. But let's switch over to our gameplay view and just see what's doing in the world of Creativerse. There we go. So first of all, if you wanted to play with us, right now you can't because the servers are down, and right now the team over this way is hard at work putting that release together for y'all. And what that means is they had to bring the servers down, update the game, update our servers, and all the stuff that goes along with that. And so that's usually this is one of the most common questions we get. How long does it take? It usually takes a couple hours, and I think there's a lot of moving pieces in this kind of technical update, and so it could take that plus or minus a little time. We'll definitely keep y'all posted on our Steam forums and on Twitter and all those regular places and let you know kind of how that update is going. But for now, we're on our internal kind of development servers here, along with some of our awesome sneak preview players, and we're just going to kind of start to show some stuff off. And so I think what I like to do, I'm switching over here, I'm switching around on my screen. I've got the patch notes in front of me, and so first let's start off with kind of the most exciting, fun thing, Winter, which would be
the column blocks.
Column blocks. And so what this means, if you're looking at my patented, really excellently organized inventory here, these are all kind of typical cube voxel blocks, right? We've got Dark Canyon stone. It's just this cube of red, kind of shiny stone that can be used for any sort of kind of red shiny stone needing build. We got Peak Stone, a very popular dark stone. Coral, one of my personal favorites, looks like a brain, and so these are all kind of the typical square blocks. In them, for a long time, Creativerse has had, other shapes and profiles, right? We've got 3D models that are animated for stuff like our processor, or the Grand Architect chest, which has this really cool kind of tapered alien sci-fi looking shape. And then a wood burning lamp, which just looks like a lamp that's got some wood in it and it's just burning. It's just generating light for you. And so, in addition to that, what we try to do every once in a while is add new shapes of blocks and new, like to think of them as silhouettes, right? Like, these blocks, I can see all their details up close, but when I back away, like I'm looking kind of far back at those are stained glass blocks back there, it really just looks like a square, yellow square, blue square, red square. And that's kind of, I think, how a lot of our builders start to think about them.
Right. When
they're building really big, epic castles and stuff, right? They said, well, it doesn't really matter that I need technically stained glass here. I just need a blue thing that's kind of, looks like this. And so that's where these new column blocks are really going to come in handy. And so I'm going to look at my list here. There are 18 of them, and they're all crafted from free in-the-game core crafted blocks that are already everyone is going to have access to. So let's try one. There's the Obsidian Column. This is I love Obsidian. The whole Obsidian set. It's one of our most fleshed out sets. And the Obsidian Column is all these are created in the processor, and so all I need to process is an Obsidian brick wall. So let's look at what I need to craft that. Is that my brick wall? Yeah, let's track it. Do some tracking here. I need some goo, so I'm going to go over to my animal goop. I need some obsidian slabs. I might have to chop some down. Let's see. Yep. So we'll chop some down and some stone rods, which I probably have. Yes. Okay. So let's plop some of these obsidian in the process. Let's just chop them all up. So while we're letting this process, I'm going to name a few other of these column blocks because they're really kind of a good representation of the different types of blocks that we have in the game. There's one for all of the different material levels, so I'm talking about stone and obsidian, iron, diamond. We also have ones that represent the different layers in the game, so a lava, kind of a, you know, wood, stone, bedrock, all the different layers of the game like that. Even a corrupted stone wall block column. I see our excellent MVP here just kind of hopping around in my unfinished base that I keep saying I'm going to finish. Haven't yet. Alright, so we got our slabs. I think we're ready to craft. Alright, so we got some of those. Let's pick a empty processor. Now let's take a look. Here we are. Obsidian column, chop 2. So you get 2 for each block. So if you think about bang for your buck here, you're going to do 1 craft of obsidian brick wall, get 8 of those, and then each of those can be processed to 2 columns. So for 1 craft, you're going to end up with 16 columns, which is pretty good bang for your buck. So let's go ahead and process this, and we'll set it down. Any good comments or questions coming in there, Winter, while we're just crafting away?
We do. We have Mr. Picoro asking, any chance of reinforced glass slabs?
Reinforced glass slabs. That's a really good question. So we added, it was the reinforced glass slope and then the corners that match that, right? And so that block has started to be kind of fleshed out. There's not a column for it. I don't even know if it's possible to craft, like I'm talking about just with modern science, to craft a reinforced glass column. I don't even know how you would do that. I don't know how anything is done, but including that. But let's just say in the world of fantasy of Creativerse that is possible. I think it's a great idea because we already have some of those different shapes for the reinforced glass, and so I guess some of y'all are already starting to build really fun stuff. And so I place these down. So here we go. I mean, when I say a column, that's exactly what I mean. This is a kind of rounded. And so it takes the texture of the existing obsidian brick wall, and you can see, so on the top it's a little different, fully rotatable, and so you can just imagine some of the fun stuff that you would be able to start doing with these, right? Like making, what comes to mind for me is a log cabin, and you've got these long logs, and then they interlock, you know, in the cabin method, I just named it, they interlock in the cabin method, and so I'd love to see, I'm certain that players are going to start building new stuff like that takes advantage of these blocks, as well as updating their existing builds, publishing them as blueprints, and making them available for just about anyone to try out. Hey, Mossy Leafy.
Cassie Run wants you to come organize their vault.
I will not. I will not do that. It's a great thought. What I need to do, Cassie Run, is finish this and go put a bunch of crafted blocks here. I mean, I set it up where I can even put more inventory down here, get some of the premium blocks in line, some of the, you know, chairs and the kind of various shapes, and really just have a spot for everything. And then, you know, my Creativerse life will be complete. As always, we start these streams and just, for some reason, our luck is 100% that it's in the pitch black night when we do. Let's craft another block here and see what's doing. I think one of our popular sets that has a lot of different block shapes and types is limestone. I know big, really talented builders like Echo and these guys, they love limestone just because I think it's kind of a more basic. It doesn't have a lot of detail, and so therefore you can kind of do a lot of different things with it. So let's build a limestone column process by making a limestone wall. That's this dude here. Track it. All right, I got some of this. I need 4 limestone. It's gonna be over here. And once I get these crafting, I'm going to start mentioning some of the important fixes and improvements that are in this release, because there's actually a lot to go over related to those. Oh, I need some melted wax. That's going to be over here. I can do that. I think I put my melted wax down here. No. At the bottom? I haven't melted any wax, Winter. I'm not sure what I'll do.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't. All right. Time to go wax hunting. So... this is a bit, oh, well, that was pro move. Let's try again to fly up to the top of a tree. I'm blaming the dark on that one. I didn't see those weepwood leaves kind of right up above me.
Taking bets on a falling death.
That is the typical form of my deaths in a live stream, is to fall, to kind of plummet. All right.
Oh, we'll take a look at that, Runa Eleanor. Runa Eleanor noted that when they use the costume part for the flashlight, the little ghost, the light changes into the color of their skin.
I know that the ghostly, in fact, I think that's what I have equipped. I think, I wasn't aware that, we can look at it here. I think it's just got a standard colored light. It's a little different from the regular flashlight, which is more of a white, bright daylight light, and this one has a little more of that blue. Man, someone's going to town with flares in my base. Look at that. That looks awesome. But there could be. I know a lot of these costumes do, in fact, adapt to the colors, your customized colors on your character, so I could be totally wrong. And it's possible that the ghostly flashlight does indeed. One of my favorite things, it's hard to see on these leaves, but when you're looking, when we've got the ghostly flashlight equipped, and you go look at a wall or the floor or flat surface, you can actually see the outline of the ghost's eyes and mouth. It's as if it's just emitting light, and you get that kind of just a subtle effect. If you're looking kind of where I'm looking, you might be able to see it, but it's hard to see on these weepwood leaves. Better like on a flat wall. All right, so I've got enough wax here, Winter. I think I'm gonna go melt some.
Awesome.
Get some coal.
A Beautiful Twisted Mind asks, Playful, any chance of getting some new weapons or maybe some blood? New weapons in time, but I don't think blood is... No.
What was the question? Adding blood to the game?
Right.
Well, you can't rule it out. I mean, so there's got to be something pumping through Rambo and characters.
Maybe.
But if I had to guess, we're probably not going to go out of our way to add like visible blood coming from Rambo or Mossy Leafy or even little baby Pebble. I mean, that would be a little sad, right?
That would be very sad.
You're already whacking Pebble and then taking his little pebbles and then burning them up in the forge to make Rockstar Rocks, right? Like you're already kind of giving him a rough day. And so if we just went out of our way to say, oh, and make sure the blood just splatters as realistically as possible, it would make me personally upset. I know that.
Oh no, I can't imagine blood in the game. But you know, never say never.
But additional costumes, and why I mentioned costumes because there are sword costumes, right? So we can now add, without adding different swords to the progression. You know, I'm talking about iron, stone, obsidian, all the basic swords of the game. Without even having to do that, we can add different looks for you. I'm just watching these flares fly, these scare flares fly around. I see you dropping something, Terathy. I'm not sure if I want it. All right. Oh, thanks. Oh yeah, thatched column. I will use that. Thank you, Terathy. All right, but I'm about to craft my limestone column. I've melted my wax, didn't I?
Sweet.
Did I? Yes. So,
All the melted wax.
oh, I keep hitting E. There we go. And so now we have to process our limestone wall, and we'll have accomplished it.
I believe in you.
So yeah, with the new costume system, it's totally possible for us to add different customizations to your weapons, and so we already have that cool scythe visual for. In fact, I can equip that. Right. Let's go to my costumes tab. I've got the scythe, the Grim Reaper. I think this has been one of our more popular costumes so far, and yeah, look at that thing. It is just so cool. It's got I love the little orb at the back there. All right. So, have we done it? We've done it. We've accomplished a limestone column. Let's go place it down. Where's my, oh, I've got a diamond column here, a diamond wall column. So let's go put them together. I got my obsidian ones over here, I think.
Ooh. Valgav asks, will there be a processor level 2 or something similar?
That is another great question, and so I'm not able to answer that with like a definite answer to will there be, because that's not in our immediate plans. It's not something we're working on right now. But I've said this before, that we love the idea of, and as just a general guiding philosophy, of making our building tools feel as awesome as possible. And I'm talking about things like burst fill in your blueprints, when you can go place down a block and it just explodes out a big, radius of blocks in front of you, and you feel really powerful in that moment. And so that extends to all the things involved in gathering, crafting, and creating. And so processing, right now we haven't touched the processors in a while, except for to do some quality of life things, right? Like I can hold shift and create a bunch of stone rods at once. But that's really just more of a interface thing. It doesn't affect how fast I craft things. but I would say just in general, that lines up with our philosophy. Let's find ways to make crafting and creating as awesome and as rewarding as possible. And so while there's no specific plans to do something like that, that's totally something we would consider in the future. All right, I'm getting... All right, this is great because now I don't have to craft some of these. I can start to show them off. And so we've got...
Sweet.
I'm going to go where it's a little better lit. All right, I had started here. Got a yellow wood wall. I like how that goes with the obsidian. That kind of matches. Complementary colors, I think. A thatched column, so this is made of that kind of straw-looking material. Wood column, and then all the colorful variants like yellow and red. Let's see, anything else? Speaking of yellow and red, let's pop down this diamond. This one has a look of very, very valuable looking. We can just spin it around. Very nice. It's got a cool detail from the octagonal diamond wall, I think. So these are going to be available for you to start building with and playing with right away. They're all craftable from 3 core blocks in the game. So once the servers come back up, take a look at those patch notes, look at the blocks that are available, and start to craft some up and visit a processor, and you can start figuring out how you're going to work these into your awesome builds.
So, Two Gaming Girls have a good question.
Yes.
Any chance we'll be able to rotate placemats fully soon so we can place them on walls?
Is there any chance of that? It's hard to say, right? Like right now, it was an intentional design choice. There's nothing, or rather, it's a design choice to keep those kind of within reason. I think the way that would be a possibility in the future, and there's a little conjecture. I haven't run this by the team, right? I'm off script here. The way that might be possible in the future is if we get the game's optimization and really in such a solid state that we can start to kind of do some extra things like being able to plaster placemats everywhere without it worrying about it affecting your frame rate and stuff like that. Like right now, those placemats are add some detail to the game, and they're a special kind of block, just like your processor or your storage, that it's treated differently under the hood than just a golden wall block, for example, and it takes a little more processing power to draw on your screen. And so if we were able to optimize that in the future and where that was a little less taxing on the system, I'm certainly not the person to ask how possible that is, how easy that is. Probably is a very difficult proposition, but then sure, that might raise the headroom and give us the ability to do to kind of open up additional decorative possibilities using those more complicated blocks. So the short answer, not right away, but anything's possible in the future. Okay, so I do want to I'm going to keep looking at these blocks that our awesome MVPers, our sneak preview guys are dropping down for us, but I do want to go over some of the fixes and improvements that are in the update winner, because some of these are pretty big.
Big. Yeah. So
the main one, I won't say main because there's a couple kind of main thrusts here, but really important is that Creativerse is now built using the 64-bit Unity platform. And you're like, what does that even mean? Stop talking. I hate that. Don't tell me details. I don't understand it. No worries. What that means is that we upgraded the game. If you remember your old Super Nintendo, when you bought those games, they said, oh, these are 16-bit games, and that was better than your Nintendo Entertainment System, which was 8-bit, right? And so if you just think about it in terms of numbers, like your iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone X, the more those numbers go up, it's a pretty safe bet that there's more kind of that's a terrible analogy. I'm just not giving any actual information here. Just trust. No, you don't have to trust. So what that means really under the hood is that it allows the game to access more memory that's on your system. And memory is used by the game to load up things and run calculations, right? And so by raising that ceiling, by making Creativerse a 64-bit game, it allows it to access more memory, and it's going to just increase the stability of the game. You're going to crash less, and the game is going to be more stable. There are some side effects to that change. It's a big transition for Creativerse, and in fact, let me continue. I'm just talking. Let me continue plopping down some columns here. What that means is that older 32-bit operating systems are no longer supported by Creativerse. And so if you're like, I don't think that affects me, the fact is it probably doesn't. Most of we were able to look at the stats, and the huge majority of players running Creativerse are already on 64-bit operating systems, and they're going to have no problem at all. It's going to be a seamless transition. They won't have to do anything to to make that change. It's just going to just work for them. If you're running a system that's got is still running a 32-bit operating system, we set up. It's on our forums, and we're going to link it in the patch notes. Make this information really available. You can also just Google it or Bing it. We set up a FAQ on our forums to let you know kind of how do you find out if your system is running a 32-bit operating system. If so, can you upgrade and kind of put all that information in one place for you. And so check out our forums if you're not sure how that affects you. But like I said, for the huge majority of our players, this is just going to be something that just works and right away starts improving your play experience.
And it makes a big difference. It makes a really big difference.
Yeah, so in addition to that, so that affects stability. And again, by stability, what I mean is, once I get through this thought, I think I'm going to set up a blueprint and we can watch all these bored sneak previewers build something. So that way, if I'm talking and I forget to do stuff, we can at least watch them. What I mean by stability is, of course, less crashing, a more stable game experience. But in addition to that, our engineer team has been hard at work and they made a lot of performance improvements. And what I mean by that is things that are going to make the game just run smoother, less hitching, better frames per second, and all that kind of stuff. And so, hey, sneak previewers, I'm heading to the south a little bit, just because I want to get away from my main base. I don't want y'all building right by my base.
Oh, totally not Xando just asked about a giveaway.
Hey, that is a great idea. So once I plop down, here, let's build over here by this cool tower that I ripped out of Happy Town, Echo's Apothecary Tower. So let's look at our blueprints. Let's find something cool and then swap in some... Let's build the Majestic Hidden Temple. I haven't built one of these in a while. And I think it'll match my Apothecary's Temple here. And yes, we will do a giveaway here in a moment. That is a great thought, Xando. I think I'm kind of looking for an open space here. I think what I'll do, it's okay if it's floating off the ground a little bit. I think I'm going to do something like this, and then plop it maybe here on top of these brown mushrooms. Let's see. Alright, so we're not hitting any trees. Are we hitting my temple? Nope, we're around the temple, and we're not floating too much. Okay, this is a good spot. This is going to just do the trick. So now what I want to do is make this look totally ridiculous by swapping out some of these awesome hidden temple blocks with some columns. Just because. Let's just do that. I don't want a kit yet. I will want a kit, but first let's do some swapping. So this is a great example of something that the transition to a 64-bit game gets for us. One of the big memory hogs in the game was this blueprint preview, and it's really awesome, right? You essentially render the blueprint real time. You can zoom in, you can scroll around in it. But that turns out took a lot of memory from the system, and that was a big culprit in some of the crashing we were seeing. With a 64-bit game, what that's going to do is open up all the memory we could ever need, assuming it's there in your system, and really mitigate the crashes that you might see doing kind of heavy-duty stuff like this. So what I want to do is customize it.
It even moves better. It's much smoother.
Yeah, so instead of vines, well, let's see. I think instead of Hidden Temple turquoise trim, I really want to see blue wood columns. I think that's going to make it really just look amazing. Yeah, look at that. That's just gorgeous. And instead of Hidden Temple trim, I think I'm going to go with spiral limestone columns.
And actually, Ultimate Mike 25, this will answer your question. He asked, how do the columns line up with the square blocks? Will there be spaces?
No, so they're pretty flush, and so what I mean by that, they're as tall as a regular block, and their diameter is equal to the diameter of a regular square block. And so you could start doing some math if you want to learn the size of those little gaps. I think pi will be involved, but if you don't want to think about that stuff, yeah, just they're roughly the same size as a regular block. There's no overlap. And I think finally, let's get a straight. No, I want a red wood column instead of this guy. Beautiful. This is really shaping up, Winter. And I think finally, because I have this one, I'm going to put that instead of this block here. Oh, I love it. It's never looked better. So let's save that. Let's get a customized kit. Let's get a couple, yes. So that way these guys don't have to... Let's get another kit. Hey, one more. Give me one more kit, please. Thank you.
11T.
Okay, so we're going to plop these down. And let these guys start to build. This is going to look beautiful. Let's see.
I can't wait. Moist Slenderman has a good question. Will we ever be able to build upside down blueprints by rotating the cornerstones upside down?
That is such a fun idea. There are surprisingly few things stopping us from doing that, but a few important things. Right now we have these multi-blocks, things like beds, processors that aren't rotatable. And so we've talked about, well, if you can rotate almost all the blocks, but not some, like let's say you have a row of processors, you can't flip those upside down. Right now the game just can't handle that. And so we've thought about what are the workarounds to that, you know, and one might be, let's see, let me tell these guys, go for it. Go fo it, I wrote, which is really better than go for it. I'm assuming everyone can access these, right? Yeah, good. People already grabbing them. Today. Hey, who's attacking me? Let me finish the thought here. So while these guys start to build, we'll watch them. What was I talking about, Winter?
Sorry, I was reading questions.
Well, I'm assuming it was, rotating a blueprint. So there are a few long story short, there's a few technical things that are stopping us from implementing that right now. But I think it's a solvable problem. I would hope so. And so maybe sometime in the future, when we're really looking for additional ways to add cool building options to the game, that would be something we could look into. Because, sir, I can really imagine how flipping a blueprint on its side or upside down could really just give you some cool options.
That'd be super cool. It kind of brings to mind some classic video games.
Are these guys waiting for me for anything?
So, let's see.
I feel like they're just throwing stuff at me and not building.
Column blocks.
Column blocks are here, Paul. Oh, this is in a... thank you. Let me unclaim this.
Let's see.
All right. I'm doing this under protest. I don't want you ruining my claim. All right. Okay. Go. Let's see. Now we'll watch this take shape. Yes, it's happening. It's all happening. Any other questions? Then I want to continue talking about some of these improvements and bug fixes that are in the update, Winter.
I lost one question. I don't recall who asked it on YouTube. However, somebody asked if we will ever have green processors.
Green processors.
And I think that's actually a pretty viable question, like colored processors, colored.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really specific question, but a totally great question. And I'll tell you, I love watching the block effect on the hulking hand there. That's really cool. Oh man, burst fill. Now we're talking.
Burst fill looks so
So
sweet.
to the player who asked how these column blocks fit together, now you can see, right? So it forms just a solid, smooth surface here, except some of these obviously are rotated, but they all have the same height and diameter, and so they end up fitting into your build just like a regular square block. So something that I've always loved the idea of, and we haven't really done it yet, is giving visual options for the crafting stations. I'm talking about the processor, even the cooking station, right, or the forge. Right now we have those basic ones that fit into the Architect kind of the visual scheme. But I would say it's totally a possibility in the future that we would look at making some different options there. Whether that's the ability to kind of shift the color or do something interesting with the existing processor, or a totally new set of processors, right? So it's not something, again, that's on our plate in the near future, but I think that, I mean, it's something that I always love the idea of, and I'll keep bringing it up to these guys, because I think that would be a really fun way to customize your worlds and especially your home bases where you do a lot of crafting and cooking and forging and stuff like that. Great question. I'm going to call out some of the other improvements here. And so we talked about stability improvements in a 64-bit game, but there's also a bunch of performance improvements. And these I'm not going to go into details on. There's a brief description of them on the patch notes, but this is even further under the hood. And I would do a terrible job of explaining what these fixes really did, other than that they're designed to really improve kind of just the smoothness of your play experience. And I hope that as soon as you hop into the game, after the servers are back up, you'll really see, like, oh man, these are really just kind of improving my play experience here. Coming together. My design sense was spot on.
That looks awesome.
Well, that's one way to put it. It's like no hidden temple, majestic hidden temple that I've ever seen. I'll say that much.
The colors clash a little bit, but it's
You're very optimistic, Winter. That's why I really appreciate that about you. You're putting a good face on this. In addition to that, a new tag that's supported on the arc sign. All I'm going to say is look out in the patch notes and see. If you're one of these players that's doing just almost magic with our arc signs, there's something new for you to play with. You're going to want to check that out.
Oh, we got another request for giveaway.
Oh, that's right. Man, too much is going on. Let's do our giveaway right now. So let's get them all done at once. I'm going to do like 8 names. And I'm just going to call them one after another. These players, I'm going to run a raffle. This is unfortunately, this is only going to be in our Twitch chat. So if you're watching us on YouTube or Mixer right now and you want in on the giveaway, right now we're set up with a bot on Twitch, and that's how we run it, just to be fair with all the players that are watching. So I'll give you a second to hop into that chat as well and enter. We're going to give you a phrase to type in once I open the raffle, and then you'll be entered in. I'll draw, let's say, 8 names, and you will win whatever you need. We've got keys for Creativerse Pro. We've got keys for the Welcome Bundle. That's our DLC that's got coins and those special gold recipes. And we've got keys just for a bundle of coins. And so we'll call your name if you're a winner, and then our awesome forum moderator, Remy D, will get in touch with you and distribute that prize to you if you're a prize winner. So let me get a good view of, oh, this is really coming together. I think I'm going to have to put down another blueprint. But, I'll let this finish up. Uh-oh, someone already started one here. This is a...
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, perfect. This looks just right. All right. I'd say go for it, X27. Y'all build this, too. Although it's going to eat into my beautiful trees over here. That's okay. So,
trees.
I think what we're going to do is... I'm running our bot here. I'm operating a robot. Let's open it. Yes, reset the raffle. Raffle's open. So you're going to type into the Twitch chat, !raffle, and then a space, and then the word column. COLUMN. You're like, why is that MN in there? What is that? I don't understand that. Well, I don't have any way to explain that to you other than it just has an MN. It's just column. That's just how it is. All right, so the raffle is open. If you're like, what did Steven just say? I have no idea what's going on. Just look at what other people are doing, because a lot of folks are already typing into Twitch chat, !raffle space column, and that's going to enter them into the raffle, and you're going to have a chance to win. So while that's going on, I'll leave that open for like a minute or 2 minutes, a couple minutes. Give folks plenty of a chance to enter. You don't get multiple entries if you enter it more than once, so just enter once and you're good. You're in the raffle. This is really coming together. I love my beautiful wood, bright blue, red, and white majestic hidden temple. I think it's never looked more majestic. I'm really happy with how this came together. All right.
Okay.
While this is going on, I'm kind of looking too. It's hard to see comments on
Right.
Twitch right now because the raffle's going on. But anything on Mixer?
No questions right now.
A question on Mixer? How are we doing on YouTube? Y'all guys hanging in there?
On YouTube, people are asking if we can get, Mr. Joshua Inc. is asking, can we get an autofill on the processors?
Autofill on the processor. So if I had to read into that a little bit, I'm assuming that doesn't mean just going to the processor, right, and clicking a bunch or even clicking once and filling it up with your items. I'm assuming that means some way to queue up a bunch of items to process all at once. Mm-hmm. And this is similar to the answer I gave about a super processor, right? Like, that's not something we're specifically looking at right now, but it's totally a possibility for the future. I think we would absolutely look at ways to make processing and crafting really easy and streamlined. And so there's a lot of opportunities there, I think, to do something like tie it into our machine system or do something like that. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but I think it's a cool idea, and I would say keep bringing those ideas up, put them on our forums, bring them up when we're doing our live stream, so that way it gets on the team's radar, and it's one of those things that we're continuing to think about. Great idea.
Oh, and Welsh Boss just shared a great idea, larger processing queues. Yeah,
right now I think they're limited to 21. And so a lot of folks solve that by just running a lot of processors in parallel. Those have 10 going at one time or even more. And that does it, but there's a lot of, you have to go set that up and you have to visit each one of those processors. So maybe there's some happy medium there where really you can set up a lot of processing power all at once. I think it's a great idea. All right, I think our raffle has had ample opportunity for folks to enter and be part of it. And so, Mr. Remy D, get ready. I'm going to start naming the winners. I'm going to toss them out in chat, and it will be up to you to contact them and let the folks know who won. First up, Christy015. You're a winner of the first raffle. So you're going to get either Creativerse Pro, the Welcome DLC, or if you've got those, we'll just get you some coins. We got some codes for, I think it's 2,000 coins. So I'm going to announce that as winner in chat. Let's keep drawing. Calexian7, I know you. Congrats. Thanks for watching us on our live stream, and you are a winner of something. You've won the thing. Amadeus 20011. Congrats, you won a raffle. You're going to get that Creativerse Pro, Welcome DLC, whatever you need. All right. Here's number 4. Rare Rigster. That's it.
I read it as registered too.
Yeah, I read it as registered. You are now a Rare Register. And you registered, and now you won the raffle. Congratulations. Let me announce you there. That's 4. We're going to do 4 more, I think I said. Let's just keep it going, winner. Let's just keep the winners going. Mysteries. Congrats. You are a winner of some stuff. 3 more. Who's going to win? Firefly 128. It's not Firefly. Firefly, F-L-I, 128. Congrats. You are a winner. And even though your icon is of a firefly, it doesn't matter. Firefly. Announces chat. All right. What? 2 more? 2 more? Let's do 2 more. Filt Gamers with a Z. Phil T Gamers. Congrats. Hey, thanks for following Playful Court on Twitch. And 1 more. Here it is. The winner of
Drumroll.
The thing that they want. Pseudonym 78 with a 0 for a O. Pseudonym with a 0 for O. 78. Congrats. You're a winner of whatever you need. So thank you guys so much for joining us here on our stream. This is a lot of fun. So I think we're just going to, let me take another look at the patch notes. I'm not going to go over everything. I want to leave some of those cool new improvements, bug fixes, even features for you to check out when the servers come out. We're just kind of hitting a few of the high notes, and so I'm going to take a look at that. Fixed for a couple bugs that have been called out by you, the community, to us, and we were happy to get those fixed. If you had Pumpkiru's top hat, the costume, and you had the skull head, the Calavera Cabeza costume, those now fit together better. The hat was kind of low down on the skull's head. He was looking at you like this. Yeah. So we fixed that. That didn't look quite right. He was a little too stylish for us. Additionally, there was a bug with flashlights. If you left your flashlight on when you logged out and then came back, the game could actually end up allocating a couple flashlights for you, and it will look really bright. It was hard to turn off, and it could be a little drain on performance actually. And so that was a really good fix. Thank you for those details. Saraneth was just tweeting about it this morning, saying, hey, this bug is really the worst. So happy to get that fixed out for y'all. So I think, winner, that we built something beautiful here. This is the first ever just largely column encrusted majestic hidden temple blueprint. I'm pleased with how it came out. I'm happy that everything came together from
so cool.
column blocks to being able to customize blueprints to being able to get custom kits for those right away, and for our sneak previewers to be here with us and to build it. It's really something special, and I just, I'll visit this always and remember this moment. This is great.
We have a couple more questions.
Yes, please.
Dark Sumi is asking about a recycling machine. How about a Recyclotron 9000?
Recyclotron 9000.
Crafted items and blocks and get back a small portion of the raw materials you made them with.
Well, I would only support that if it was exactly called the Recyclotron 9000. So that's just first of all. But again, that's a great idea. I think that's kind of one of those long-standing requests that I've seen for the community for a long time. It's like, hey, sometimes I end up, if I'm crafting, you can see I've got kind of some extra stuff here. I've got 7 extra limestone walls that I'm not planning to use, although now I will use them. Let's just place them here and they'll look beautiful. So here's one option. You can always just add your extra blocks to your build like this, and it will just look great. See, I solved the problem. Now we don't even need a Recyclotron. You just put your blocks on your mirror dot. It was like not having that, making a red box there. Great question.
Let's see. The other one was, when is the next round of costumes coming about, and are the current costumes going to be staying in the store?
Great question. When is the next round of costumes coming out? So without getting too specific, last year we had a holiday event, didn't we? Right around sometime in December. In the recent Halloween event, which is now turned off with this update, no more Pumpkiro has gone back to his majestic palace where he lives, to wait for next year to go, probably come out of hiding again. And so, look at that beautiful majestic hidden temple was completed. It's never looked better. Thank you, sneak previewers. And so, just like that event, we are planning, I think, we've mentioned this before, for a really cool holiday event using some of the same kind of cool framework that we have put in place for the Pumpkiro event. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there were some costumes associated with that. I don't know. Seems like something we might do. There's no guarantees. It might not happen. But that could be an opportunity to get a little more costume content. The second part of that question, will those Halloween-themed costumes go away? Right now, they're going to stay in the store just because we don't have a lot of costumes and we want to offer them all. But as we build up a stock of even more and more costumes, it is possible that we take some of these seasonal ones and make them available just seasonally. So I'm talking about Pumpkiro's top hat might only be available to pick up from the store right around Halloween time, right? Or, if we had a special, I don't know, Easter hat or something, it might only be available certain times of year. And so for now, they are going to be available. We'll probably try to let you know before they drop out of the store. But it's possible as we build up more and more costumes for that costume tab that we would start to rotate some of those out. So I think let's go back to our main camera here, Winter, and let's wrap up. What do you think?
All right, I think so. We do have 2 more questions, though.
Sure.
Well, 1 more question. So the last question I asked came from Jacob Super Soldier Summers. I'm
Yes,
sorry,
Jacob.
everything was scrolling so quickly I didn't see your name at first. The other question is from Entaland, which is, what about the mobs and loot bags spawning in weird places or not spawning at all? Sounds like something that they should post in the bugs forums.
So I want to say that there are some fixes now in this update for that. I don't know if it's called out in the patch notes, but I know that is something that was on the radar of our engineer team where when the game was picking the place it put some of those things like loot bags, it was doing something that it shouldn't, and so they were ending up in weird places, like you would kill a lizard in a tree and a loot bag might end up somewhere else. And so I want to say, don't hold me to this, it's probably something to check out after the update, and if that's still going on, then let us know in our forums and we'll double check. But I think that was getting looked at, so if not already a fix in, then it might be something that is on the radar to get fixed really soon. Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question, and that's all of them.
All right, so thank you so much, you guys. Wow, we were going for a while. I always say at the beginning, let's keep this one short, and then it never happens. But then we end up doing really cool stuff like building a column-encrusted majestic hidden temple that just looks amazing. So thank you for joining us on Mixer, on YouTube, on Twitch. What I'd like to get figured out for next time is see how we can support giveaways on those other platforms than Twitch, because let's do that. Let's give keys for everyone. That'll be a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us. The servers are probably going to be down for a little while longer. I know there were a lot of things to hook up for this update, and that's still going on over in this part of the room. Mr. David always does this, but I'm terrible at, hey, check it out. So those guys are hard at work putting that together. So we will see you in the game. Yes. I appreciate everyone coming to join us, and we will continue to do some live streams. We'll probably have a Playfulverse coming up soon. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us. Peace out, you guys. at this. They built me in a box. Can't even get out. Thanks, Terathy X27, Jack, you guys. Can't believe it. All right, bye, y'all.